In this presentation, we will generate, analyze, print, and export to Excel a comparative profit and loss report within QuickBooks Online. Here we are in our free test drive file for Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. We're going to roll on down to our reports down below on the left-hand side. And we're going to be starting with, I'm going to go to the Standard tab, We're going to be starting with our standard profit and loss report and then be adjusting and customizing that standard profit and loss report to make a comparative profit and loss report. So let's open up that standard P&L, that standard profit and loss, or income statement. Going to change the dates up top. We're going to go up top and make those dates as of 01/01/19 to 12/31/19, January through December 2019. Then let's go ahead and run that report. I'm going to duplicate the tab as has been our custom, right-clicking on the tab up top and duplicating it so that we have the report on the right and we can do anything else we need to do without messing up the report on the left. Then I'm going to close the old hamburger up so we remove the menu on the right-hand side. I'm going to get that hamburger out of the way so it doesn't tempt me. And then I'm going to be increasing the size of the screen. So I'm going to increase the size of the screen by holding down Control and scrolling up. So now we have it up, what is it at? Let's make it 125. Okay, so here's going to be our standard profit and loss report. What we want to do now is have that side-by-side analysis. We would like to see the side-by-side analysis for 2 months, the months of November and December. So currently we're at the whole year. I would like to just see 2 months side-by-side. And what we want for the income statement, then a little bit different from the balance sheet. The balance sheet was as of the end of December, because the end date's all that matters because it's a point in time. This time we want the activity. How did we do for the month of November? How much money did we make? How much expenses did we incur for that time frame, the beginning and end? How much did we make during the month of December? So we could say, all right, well, how would we do that? I can go back up top. Well, what would happen if I changed the dates up top from 11/01/19 to 12/31/19? That would cover the full range there that we're looking for. And if we do that, that's great, but it doesn't give me that comparison. What it does is it gives me how we did for that 2-month time period. And so it will be different. Like when we changed the date range for the balance sheet, it didn't change the report at all because all we had all that mattered was the end date. This report does change. It did make a difference, but it doesn't give us what we want, because what I want is to have a 2-month comparison of how we did for the 2 months, not just how we did overall over the 2 months. All right, so then I'm going to say, well, what else could we do? We can go to the total drop down and say, instead of the totals, I'd like to see it in months. In months, please. And then go ahead and run that report. I was waiting for something to happen, but I didn't run the report. And then we're going to go down, and that looks more like what we want. Now we've got November and December, and that's going to give us how we did for November, how we did for December, and then it gives us the total combining those two. That's great. So also note that this format gives the prior year in the beginning, so we're reading from left to right, oldest to newest, as opposed to the current month at the beginning. And we have the totals here because it's totaling up the 2-month performance time-wise. Note that this total doesn't make sense on the balance sheet because the balance sheet's just as of a point in time, as of the end of November and December. We didn't see the total column because it doesn't make sense to add up 2 points in time. However, it does make sense to add up this month and then this month and see the total for the 2-month time period. So that's great. What if we want to see, however, that we want to have possibly December 1st, and because we might want to read it as for relevancy, the most recent date first and then the prior date. And what if I want to subtract the two instead of be adding the two and possibly seeing the percentage change as well? So then we got to use a different strategy if we do that. We can't just use the months here. I got to go say I can't. That's nice, but I want different details. So I'm going to go back to the norm, to the total. Then I'm going to go back to these items up top, and we want to say use this previous period thing. The previous period checkbox thing is not a very technical term. It's previous period checkbox, and that's what we'll use. To do that, then we have to go back up top, and I can't use the previous period of the 2-month period. That doesn't work because then it'll be 2 months compared to 2 months. So I'm going to say, all right, well, what if I make just 1 month here up top, and then the previous period will be the prior month. So we'll say 1 month would be 12/01/19 to December 31st/19. So there's the last month of the periods that I want to compare. Then I'm going to go back up top and we'll say now we would like to select the previous period And notice it has the checkbox for a custom period down here too, because the months aren't the same in terms of the number of days. So if you have a custom period, then you'll be able to say the full month, because most likely you would like to compare not just the 30-day to the 30-day, but the 31 days in December compared to the 30 days in November, because that's just how we normally compare stuff. So we'll do that, and I'm going to go ahead and say okay, and let's run that report, see what that does. So that looks like what we want. We've got the December 2019 and then November, now the current month to the left, the prior month to the right. We have this little PP over here, prior period, and when we export it to Excel, we can adjust the headings on that. So it's a little bit more difficult to just adjust the headings, the subheadings in here. So that might be something that you could do when we adjust it or export it to Excel. So then I'm going to go back up top, and we can also then have a change column. That's what we'll do next. I'm going to go to the item up top. We want to say the change over time. So we want to compare the two time periods and then run that report. So now we obviously have the dollar change, which is useful. So now we've got, for example, it's taking the income of 1275 minus 975. That gives us the $300 change. That's useful. Now it's also useful for us to see this change not in just dollars, but by percentages. Even if we're comparing our own numbers to ourselves in the prior period, if you just take a look at the dollars, it gets a little bit overwhelming, right? You're looking at these dollars, and some accounts should be higher than other accounts and whatnot. If you look at the percentage change, then it might be easier to see the numbers and see significant percentage changes, because they're going to be only up to 100. So that makes sense, 100%. And you can take those percentage changes and benchmark them to other companies, typically companies that would be larger than you, that you're trying to basically model behind and model to. And you could do that with the percentages. So let's scroll back up top and take a look at those percentages. Then we're going to say that we want to hit this drop down one more time, or again, may not be the last time. And then say percentage change, and we want to run that report. And then we get those percentage changes. Now, a lot of people have little problems with, looking at percentages. All we're doing here is taking the change in $300 divided by the prior period, and that's going to be, in this case, the 975. And if we move the decimal 2 places over, that's going to be the 30.77 rounded. So if I go back up top, now we have that percentage change. Now the data that's given to us in this file has pretty large changes in some of these areas. So if you're an established company, or you're doing pretty much the same thing from month to month, or you're pretty consistent, then you would expect these changes to be, for the most part, in some kind of range. Hopefully the revenue is just trending nicely upwards, whatnot, But in any case, the percentage change is something that you can then compare. You can go down these percentage changes, and anything that's significant, like a $370 percentage change, then you might want to drill down on it. You want to look at everything over a certain dollar amount or over a certain percentage amount, and then explain it to yourself. Let's be like, well, why would that be? And then once you explain it, then if it's reasonable, then you move on to the next thing. But it could give you kind of a checkpoint as to looking at those areas that are a bit odd or a bit strange. And if you budgeted some kind of change, then of course you can see if that change did indeed take place for the current time period. All right, then we're going to go back up top, and let's do some of our normal kind of customization. We need to customize the name up top, and we would like to customize the dates note here. Can't really do so, and I think I forgot to do it last report here, but we can do it when we export to Excel. So I could remove the date, because it's not really as of December 31st anymore. It's really got November and December. I'd like to make that November and December. I can't do that with the change here, but I can remove this in the customized fields up top. So then you just see the dates down below, and then we can make that change when we do the export to Excel, if we so choose, if I remember it this time. But whether I remember it or not, you can obviously do it in Excel. So then we can customize the report. And let's do our normal type of activity. The first thing I'd like to do is go to the header and footer and make this a comparative profit and loss report. So that looks good. And then I'm going to go down to the footers. I'm going to remove the date prepared, time prepared, report basis. We'll get rid of those. We'll get rid of the report period as well. Let's just take a look at that right now. And that'll remove that report period. Then I'm going to go back up top, customize again, and we want to get rid of the pennies. No sense to the report. The report has no sense to it. We'll put the brackets around it, and then we'll show it as red as well. Show in red. And then run that report. Some of our standard customization. So there we have that. Looks pretty good. Once you do that, you probably want to save it or save that customization. Let's go ahead and save that customization. And it's called a comparative profit and loss. That looks good. Save that customization. And then maybe we want to double check that it did indeed save the customization and go to the Craig's Design and Landscaping. Now remember, when you're logging back into this report for Craig's Design, it's not going to be there once you log back in because it's only going to have the active stuff that we're doing, as we're in it. But in any case, if we go down to the reports and we go to the custom reports, we should then see our income statement comparative profit and loss. That's the one we just made. So it looks like it did save, so that's good. Now I'm going to go through our standard kind of printing options. This is our third report. So if we're going to be giving this to someone, all of our income statement reports, we could email them out one by one. Not very nice because then you got a lot of emails you're kind of clogging and people don't like that. We could save it as a PDF or print it as a PDF. So we could export it and then attach 3 to one email or zip it. And I'm going to use the printing option. I'm going to print it using the PDF file printer. So I'm going to print it using the Qt PDF printer. Then I'm going to print it. And then it's going to ask me where do I want to put it. And then I'm going to tell it where we want to put it, which is going to be on the income statement. I'm going to put it into the profit and loss reports. And I'm going to call this a comparative income, let's say profit and loss. Profit and loss. Now, obviously, you would want to make some kind of a standardization, whether if you want to change everything to an income statement or profit and loss, you probably don't want to be switching between the two. Once you get to something, stick with it. Then we're going to go to the exporting, export to Excel, and open up our Excel worksheet. Here is our Excel worksheet. Let's see if it fits on a page here. I'm going to go to the page layout tab, the second tab. Does it all fit on a page? It does. One page wide. That's all I really care about, so I'm okay with that. Then we're going to go back to the normal view. There's our little page break. That looks good. Now I would like to put this. I'm going to open up my other Excel worksheet where I want to put all the reports. That's over here. So I'm going to open that one up. And then I'm going to add another report to it. I'm going to add another report. I'm going to go back to the prior report. And then I'm going to call this a profit and loss. I could just double click down here and copy the profit and loss, and then go and rename the tab, double click, rename tab. And then well, it doesn't like profit. This is a comparative profit and loss. Comparative profit and loss has to be a different name than one of the other tabs. And then I'm going to go back over to the prior sheet and copy the whole thing, which you could do by hitting this triangle up top or selecting some other location and saying Control A. And then right click and copy, or Control C. And then I'm going to go back over to our other worksheet. You have to be in A1, or you can select the entire worksheet, right click or Control C and paste. So there we have that. That looks good. Then you can make some adjustments, like you could put the dates up top if you wanted. So like what I'm going to do is I'm going to format. Notice this, they merged these cells with the merging thing. So I'm going to do that same thing below by going to the Home tab, Clipboard, Paintbrush. I want to merge these cells. And so I got the same formatting, and then you could put the dates in here. You could put, November and December 2019. And notice it's got a line right there, that little line. Like you could do some formatting here. Well, I don't like the line. You can remove that line. And, then you have December and then October through November. So that's kind of ugly. So I can change this. I can say I don't want the PP here. And I don't want October through November. I just want November. Like so. And that looks a little bit nicer. So you can do some more, kind of formatting stuff within Excel a lot more easily, at least, if you're used to Excel, than other places. This total column probably not useful. So we can have that. Okay, so let's go ahead and print this now. So I'm going to go to the File tab up top, and we're going to print it, but we're going to print it to the Qt PDF printer. We're going to then make this the entire workbook. We're going to be printing the entire workbook, which currently contains 6 pages. And then we're going to go ahead and print it. It's going to ask us where do we want to put this thing. So then we'll tell it where we want to put it. And I'm going to overwrite the last one we went to. So I'm just going to, this is the last one we had. I'm just going to make the same one as we build it. So I'm going to overwrite that one or copy over it or save it as the same name. And then I'm going to save it. This one, close. And so now within our options, now we have our profit and loss reports that we saved one by one, now having 3 of them, which we can attach one by one if we were going to email, or we can right click on the file and zip it and have one email with one attachment, but a zipped file, which is nice. I'm going to delete that. We can send the Excel file if someone just wants it in Excel for some reason, or we can send the one file that now has the multiple reports that we have generated from the Excel file and the use of the Qt PDF printer, which again, probably the most impressive, way to send the report and the easiest way to attach and, open it and whatnot.